All right, let's talk about the one part of the board exam that can really make or break your score: Python functions. Today, we're not just going to look at them, we're going to crack the code. We're going to dig into the most common patterns from past papers, so you have a rock-solid strategy to nail those questions and get full marks. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You flip the page in the exam hall, the clock is ticking away, and bam, there it is. Write a function 2. Your heart sinks a little, right? It just feels like this massive mountain to climb. But here's a little secret: it's not. What if I told you that after looking at years and years of board papers, it's obvious that examiners are kind of predictable? They'd love to ask questions that follow just a handful of core patterns. So if you can spot these patterns, and I mean really master them, you are already halfway there. So let's do it. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to break down 4 of the most common patterns you're almost guaranteed to see. Then we'll finish up with what I call the step marking master plan. This is your safety net, your secret weapon to grab marks even on the questions that seem impossible. Let's dive in. First up is an absolute classic: searching for something in a list and then replacing it. This skill pops up all the time in different ways, so let's make sure we have this one locked down cold. Here's a super typical question. The job is pretty simple, right? Go through a list L, find every time a specific number, SN, shows up, and swap it out for a 0. So how do we think this through? Well, the logic is pretty direct. We have to go through the list, but, and this is the important part, we need the index. We can't just look at the elements, we need to know where they are so we can change them. That's why a for in range of len loop is our best friend here. At every position I, we just ask, hey, is the thing at this spot, L of I, the number we're hunting for? If yes, we overwrite it. Simple as that. And here's how that logic looks as actual Python code. See how it's a direct translation? We define our function, we start our loop to go through the indices, we use an if statement to do our check, and then we make the swap. That found variable, by the way, is just good practice. It's useful if you need to know later whether you actually changed anything. Now listen up, because this is the most important part. Examiners give marks in steps. Just by writing the function definition correctly, that's the def search replace L SN part, and setting up the correct loop, you have probably already earned 1 full mark. So what does that mean? It means you never, ever leave a function question blank. Okay, let's roll into our next pattern. This one builds on what we just did. It's another list job, but this time we're tweaking every single element in the list based on some rule, without creating a new list. See, this probably looks familiar. It's a really common style of question. We take a list, walk through it, and if a number is even, we add 1. If it's odd, we take 1 away. The key phrase here is in place, which is just a fancy way of saying we're changing the original list directly. Our algorithm is going to feel a lot like the last one. Once again, we need that index-based loop. And inside that loop, the real workhorse is a simple if-else statement. We use the modulo operator, that little % sign, to see if a number is even. If the number divided by 2 has a remainder of 0, it's even. If not, it's got to be odd. And here's the code. It's super clean, really efficient, and it does exactly what our step-by-step logic laid out. You've got the function header, the loop, and the conditional logic. It all just clicks together perfectly. And this is why getting the structure right is an absolute superpower. If you look at the board's official marking schemes, they often give half a mark for getting the loop right and another half a mark for the correct if-else check. Think about that. That's 1 whole mark just for writing the skeleton of the answer before you even do the math. Okay, on to pattern number 3, and this one's a little bit of a twist. Instead of changing the list we're given, our job is to build a brand new one, a new list that only contains the elements from the original that pass a certain test. This is a perfect example. We're handed a list of numbers, and we have to be selective. We have to pick out only the prime numbers and put them into a totally new list. So this is really a 2-part mission. First, make a new list, and second, figure out how to tell if a number is prime. So the absolute first step, the one you can't forget, is to create an empty container, LST prime. Then we walk through our original list. For every single number, we have to test it. Is it prime? A simple way to check is to try dividing it by every number from 2 up to about half its value. If we find even 1 number that divides it perfectly, we know it's not prime, and we can just break our test and move on. But if that inner loop finishes its entire run without ever finding a factor, then we know it's prime, and we can add it to our new list. Now check this out, because what's really cool here is the for else structure. This is a special little trick in Python. That else block isn't for the if, it's attached to the inner for loop. And it only runs if the loop completes normally, without being cut short by a break. So for us, if we find a factor, we break, and the else gets skipped. If we get all the way through the loop and find no factors, the else block triggers, telling us, hey, this one's prime, add it to the list. And again, let's think about those easy step marks. That very first line you write inside your function, lst prime equals empty, that's a signal. It tells the examiner you know what you're doing, that the goal is to create a new list. That one tiny line plus the function header is a super simple way to get some points on the board right away. All right, let's shift gears for our final pattern. And trust me, this is a big one. You are almost guaranteed to see a question about file handling. Usually they involve opening a file, reading what's inside, and then counting something specific. Here's a perfect example, pulled right from a recent board paper. The mission: open a file named decode.txt and find out how many words inside it have 5 or more letters. You know, the process for these file questions follows a very predictable recipe. First, you open the file, and the best way to do that is with a with open statement. Then you read the contents. The .read.split method is an absolute genius move. It grabs everything from the file and instantly chops it up into a nice list of words. After that, it feels just like our other patterns. Start a counter at 0, loop through your list, and use an if statement to check a condition. In this case, the length of the word. And here is what a really solid, professional solution looks like. The with open syntax is what you should always use. It's safer because it automatically closes the file for you when you're done. The rest of the code is exactly what we planned. Start the counter, read and split, loop through the words, check the length, and at the very end, return the final count. It's a complete, perfect answer. And I bet you can guess the tip for this one, right? You will 100% get marks just for writing with open decode.txtr.r. You'll get more marks for setting up the for, w, and s loop. This means that even if you completely fumble the final if condition, you've already locked in a good chunk of the total marks available. It's a huge safety net. So, we've dissected these common patterns. Now, let's bring all those pro tips together into one simple, powerful master plan. This is your checklist, your safety net that you can use on any function question to squeeze out every possible mark, even when you're totally stumped on the final answer. This is it. This is your mental checklist. No matter how lost you feel, you do these things. Number 1, write the function header. Number 2, initialize your variables, like count equals 0 or new list equals empty. 3, write the main loop. 4, if it's a file question, you write that open line. 5, you at least try to write the main if condition. And 6, if the question says to return something, you write a return statement at the end. Every single one of these steps is tied to marks in the official scheme. So by learning to spot these patterns and by always using that step marking master plan, you can turn these scary high mark questions into guaranteed points. The only thing left to do now is practice. So grab those past papers, start hunting for these patterns, and apply this framework. You've got this. Thanks so much for watching.